Jason. Now this is podcasting.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We've been out for 2 weeks. Apologies, my bad. I got sick. We had them recorded. We had the episodes recorded. I just didn't post them.
Didn't get a chance to edit them, I imagine.
Nope. I got sick, and then I had to travel for work a lot. So, you know what? We're going to keep it rolling. We're going to keep it pushing.
We're not down for the count.
We're not down for the count, dude. We're back, actually. We're back up. Do you want to know something funny?
Yes.
So I'm moving money around today to buy this truck.
Yeah.
And I got to get Bitcoin into cash and get that cash into a bank account.
Right.
And so I moved a bunch of Bitcoin over to sell it and forgot to sell it. And so it was like sitting in the wrong account for like an hour. And then I lost $900 in the time that it was sitting there.
Oh my goodness. Is that funny?
Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, it is. That is
I'm glad you're laughing.
Yeah.
I had some money in Robinhood.
Yeah.
And it was only in one stock. I've been playing around with this one silver mining company stock out of Colorado, I think.
Yeah.
And it fluctuated fairly drastically.
Yeah.
And so I was just playing with it, buying and selling and trying to get my investment back. I'd bought some stocks that didn't do so well, and I didn't want to keep track of them. I wasn't tracking them well enough to do anything with them.
Yeah.
And so I sold off the other ones, put it all in this one, and was just trying to leverage myself back and get back what I had. But after the Bitcoin episode, I decided to more or less just sell it as is, and it was up like 25%.
That's really good.
The stock was up 25%, and I was like, I was like, oh, it might keep going up, and so I set the sell point, because you can do that in Robinhood. You
Right.
can set if it hits this point, sell this much.
Yeah.
And so I was like, sell all my remaining shares at this point, and it just kept dropping from there. And so I think I eventually sold it with like 7% above. So it was still more than what I paid for it. But I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm going to cut the losses and move it over to something I'm not going to watch all the time.
Yep. That is why we are not traders.
Yeah.
That is.
It takes a lot of time.
Dude, it takes a
You
lot
gotta
of
be
time.
on it
It takes a very specific
constantly.
brand of autism. It is not.
I don't have it.
Yep. It is very rare. Being an investor is way easier than being a trader.
Very passive.
So, yeah, you gotta buy and hold things that are going to increase in price over time. That's the goal. So, Jason, you have a little tribute you would like to give today.
I would like to give a little tribute to my grandfather, Dwayne, who passed away yesterday. He was 100 years old. He was going to be 101 in January.
Yeah.
It was very close. He outlived his dear wife, my grandmother, Dorothy. She passed away on Christmas Eve in 2009. And he stuck around for a good long time after that.
Yeah.
What is that almost? So we were wondering, since he went into hospice about a week and a half ago, we were kind of wondering whether or not he was going to, and my dad was wondering this too, because my grandfather, as my dad puts it, was a numbers guy.
Yeah.
He could tell you the date that he shipped out for World War II. He could tell you all kinds of dates.
Yeah.
It was a Wednesday, it was June 13th, and it was a fairly warm day. It was a little muggy, like that kind of level of detail, this guy's mind.
Yeah.
Which obviously faded as he got older, but he had just a Fort Knox kind of brain for numbers and dates and things. Put us all to shame that way.
Yeah.
And so we were kind of wondering if God would have that poetic, numbers thing for Granddad to have him pass away on Christmas Eve, exactly 15 years after my grandmother passed.
Yeah.
We were kind of wondering, see, they missed it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're happy for him. We're overjoyed. And I meant to bring along the C.S. Lewis book, the Narnia book, the final book, the Last Battle.
Yeah.
Which has, I think, one of the most beautiful and moving descriptions of the afterlife that I've read in fiction. The phrase that they keep on mentioning, I think Aslan probably says it first, was further up and further in. When he's referring to, well, they've all died and they don't really realize that they've died. They've just gone through a door, and the country still looks like Narnia, but somehow the air is sweeter and the colors are more vibrant and just everything is better and more beautiful. And the further they go into this land, the further up and the further in they go, the more beautiful. It's like layers and layers of deeper and deeper Narnia, as it were. It's the same land, but it's almost unrecognizable. It's familiar to them, but it's better and better and better the further up and in they go. So further up and further in, that's what we have to look forward to as believers when we pass.
Yes.
And so I like to think that Granddad is up there just cavorting about, dancing along with David in his underwear to God's glory, just with a giddiness that he didn't know even in his most carefree childhood days.
Yeah.
And being reunited with just about everyone in his family now, because he outlived everybody.
Yeah.
So
shouts
anyway,
out.
Yeah. A tribute to my grandfather, Dwayne Ford Goodman.
Shouts out, dude.
Yeah. Love you, Granddad.
We'll see you.
We will see you. Yep.
Sooner than later.
It's a temporary goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll go by real quick for him.
Yeah, real quick.
Before you know it, we'll pop up.
Yeah. What are you guys doing here?
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? I don't know.
You got to try the wine.
Yeah, you got to try the wine. It's amazing. Which one? All of them.
Yeah, all of them. There's beer here.
And I'll put all your IPAs to shame.
Yeah. Yeah, no hangovers. It'd be nice.
It's an HP A. Oh, no. Yeah. Heavenly Pale Ale.
Heavenly Pale Ale. There we go.
Heavenly Pale Ale, the
Yeah, I like
HPAs.
Yeah, I like that a lot. HPA.
Drinking that sweet HPA. The
Yes.
nectar of the gods.
The nectar
Of God.
of God.
Yeah.
Just
sorry.
the one.
That was a Greek.
Yeah. We're not pagans.
We're not pagans.
Please
I just
don't,
like the food of the gods and the nectar of the gods. Well, ambrosia, I think. I can't remember if that was the food or the drink of the gods, the Greek gods of mythology.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not educated enough to know that.
Yeah, we had this great picture book. The stories were very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what the Greek gods were? It was just a bunch of superhuman mortals, basically. A bunch of human beings.
Yeah.
They had all the failings of like overly powerful people.
Right.
They were terrible.
Terrible.
Zeus was mighty unfaithful to his sister wife Hera.
Yeah, his incestuous. Yeah. They're always incestuous too.
Of course, if you're the only children of the gods, of the god Kronos, I guess you would have to marry a sister.
Yeah.
Kind of like Cain and Abel and all, like the first generation after Adam and Eve would have been marrying sisters and then cousins and whatnot from then on.
Yeah.
But I like to think, obviously that's the way God set it up. And so that was how things were.
Right.
And if we're all descended from that, can you imagine the genetic diversity? Do you ever think about this? The genetic diversity within Adam and Eve
Right.
held every genetic that you see across the entire world that eventually led to African skin color and facial features and or physical attributes.
Right.
And, Northern European to like pygmies to Asians,
Yeah.
all from Adam and Eve.
All of
It's
it.
crazy.
Yeah. They must have looked insane.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure they were just
One eye
like
chinked
the
out,
most.
one eye round.
It turns out they're very ugly.
Yeah.
I always imagined them as like the most beautiful people.
I'm sure they were.
I'm sure they were just
astoundingly gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Eve would have just knocked us on our behinds.
I know. Yeah. Speaking of which.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, I guess before we jump into the main topic today.
So main topic, really quick, we're gonna be talking about finding a young lady,
How to pick one. We've talked about how to attract,
how to attract them, but now
and then what to do with them once you have. But we haven't.
yes, we talk about that at the end of every episode.
That's true. We do.
Impregnate them.
Yes. We have not talked about how you pick them. But we should do our in between the couch cushions. We should give our media recommendation before we move on. So, Jason, give me yours. What's your now in between the couch cushions? These are old things that maybe the younger gen has not heard about. And it's not like either of us are so old that we have access to like.
Yeah, but we've been around a little bit longer and heard.
Yeah,
we do know some more than a lot of the people listening to this.
Yeah.
In case we're way off, maybe there's older people listening to this. For all I know,
there are. I will tell you something very funny after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. My recommendation is the movie Roman Holiday. And I was going to look it up because I can never remember her name. Yeah, the main actress is UK British actress Audrey Hepburn. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Audrey Hepburn.
okay.
Very famous.
Yeah.
And it's a very famous movie of hers. But in case you haven't heard of it, or if you just haven't seen it, I would highly recommend looking it up. It's a great family movie. I should say pretty good family movie. There is like there's a little joke in it because the premise is that Audrey Hepburn plays like the princess of England, and she's going on a welfare tour and she's in Rome, right?
Okay.
So she's touring Europe
Yeah.
on a welfare tour, meeting with the press and everything and all that. And she just has a mental breakdown from all the stress of it, the routine and so the doctor there like gives her an injection of something to calm her down, presumably something like heroin.
Yeah.
Because she's all like loopy and dopey.
Yeah.
She's like so happy.
Yeah.
And then she gets up from her bed after they leave her and she like escapes out of the palace and then goes to sleep on a park bench in Rome. And that's when the other main character, who's an American living in Rome, working for a newspaper, he's a reporter. The actor is Gregory Peck, and I haven't seen him in anything else, but he's phenomenal in this.
Yeah, Gregory Peck. Yeah,
he has like the best eyebrows. He's like his eyebrow cocking is unsurpassed.
Excellent.
It's really funny.
That's good.
So the dynamic and the chemistry of these two characters is just hilarious. So he happens upon her, and what's great is like the gentlemanliness with which he treats this basically drunken woman.
Yeah.
So he happens upon this beautiful and intoxicated young lady on a park bench with nobody around.
Yeah.
And he's very gentlemanly to her. So it's refreshing in that way.
Yeah.
It's like he's not weird or creepy or anything. And so he gets her a taxi. He like almost leaves her there because she doesn't want to get up from the park bench. She just wants to go to sleep there. And he's like let's get you a cup of coffee. Come on. But she won't get up. So he finally gets a taxi and gets her in it and tries to take her home, tries to get the taxi cab guy to like take her somewhere, but he's like, no, me no want, he's like trying to communicate with this Italian guy.
No, me no want.
He's like, no, you no want girl, I no want girl. He's like, I need to go home. So Gregory Peck's character finally takes her to his like humble apartment.
Yeah.
And, gets her to go to sleep on the couch, has her change into his pajamas, and like leaves to go get a cup of coffee, leaves her with his pajamas and leaves the apartment for a while and comes back.
Yeah.
And but then he finds out who she is. He was supposed to interview the princess, but he overslept and missed the interview. And he's in hot water with his boss. But he's like, oh, once he realizes and sees her picture in the newspaper that she's missing, because they say no, she's not missing. They put out a bulletin saying she's ill.
Yeah.
Because they're panicking, of course.
Right.
Like the princess is lost
Yeah.
on a welfare tour.
Yeah.
They're trying to cover up, but he finds out it's her, and he makes a bargain with his boss that he could get a fantastic, like, in-depth story with the princess's own thoughts, like an exclusive.
Yeah.
And so he makes him shake on this like really high dollar deal for the story, and then goes home to basically trick her into like touring around and having a day out in Rome, a Roman holiday.
Yeah.
And he gets his photographer friend, who's a great side character, very funny. I don't know who that actor's name is, but the two of them take her all around town and have a bunch of adventures, a bunch of firsts for her. And his friend is taking photographs with like the cigarette lighter camera.
Yeah.
So he's like pretending to light a cigarette all the time, but he's taking secret photographs of her.
Yeah.
Anyway, the whole thing's great. But eventually she does come around to saying, I do need to, her duty. She recognizes her duty. She does not want to be princess. She hates it. And she wants to just live her own life.
Yeah.
But opposite of the Hollywood message of like follow your heart kind of nonsense that is in movies now.
Yeah.
Telling little girls that they can do this and that.
Yeah.
And this is like a more realistic look at what a princess actually has to do.
Yeah.
And she goes back to it, even though she and the main character kind of fall for each other, but she leaves him anyway to go back to her duty.
Good.
And then she has the press meet the press thing the next day, and he shows up, and so she realizes that the two of them were reporters. And then they just, instead of selling the photographs like the friend wanted to, they hand her the photographs and consider this a, and she like looks at them, and it's one of the comical moments.
Good.
And
Nice.
she says, so they have this wonderful exchange when she goes and meets members of the press, and they have this spoken but not spoken. Like she still keeps her cover and doesn't acknowledge that she knows him really,
Yeah.
but she says some things and they say some things, kind of just acknowledging that they have an affection for each other, and that she'll always treasure her time in Rome. And so it's a really nice little ending, but it's a bittersweet ending.
Yeah.
It's not a like, well, then the princess decided to go off and marry this deadbeat American reporter.
Yeah.
And they were happy, you know?
Yeah.
Screw the UK, the royals, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's some good messages in it.
Good.
Oh, but when his landlord finds out that he has like this girl up in his apartment, and then later he's giving her some money because she doesn't have any on her, so she can get back. And so his landlord, who he's late to pay the rent to, sees him like paying this girl that was just over at his apartment, and the assumption is that, you know, that he's just paying a prostitute.
Yeah.
So that's the only. But I mean, it'll go right over a little kid's head.
Yeah. Okay. Good. That's a great one. There we go. Roman Holiday.
Roman Holiday, Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck. Go
Nice.
get it.
Nice.
All right, what's yours?
Mine is Mystery Science Theater 3000. It is, so it's, the idea is that it takes like really crappy movies from the 70s and 80s, and it's three guys dressed up in costumes. Well, I guess two of them are puppets, but
The robots that he built, right? Because he's sentenced to watch. Isn't the premise that he's sent to the space station or something?
Yeah, he's sent to a space station where he's like kind of a dumbass, and so he gets sent to the space station.
Okay. Isn't he like mandated to watch terrible movies?
Yeah, it's like a
whatever
research thing. It's like a research project for this like
He
scientist or
draws
whatever.
the short straw.
Yeah. And so it's like, it has something to do with like research or whatever, and so he gets
bored and builds these robots to be his
he
friends.
like takes apart the ship and like builds these robots out of the ship. Yeah, and
One of them's made out of like a bubblegum dispenser.
yeah, and it has like a beak or something like that. Yeah.
The other one's got some big flabby mouth.
Yeah, and it's real funny. So they watch these. The camera is sitting behind them, and they're in a movie theater.
Right. So it's like you're seeing the screen.
Right, you're seeing the screen they're watching, and so that's how you watch the movie.
And they
So
are silhouettes in the front row.
right. They're silhouettes in the front row, like eating popcorn or whatever, and they just comment. They just make commentary on the movie the whole time, and they like pretend to be the characters or whatever.
Yeah, they just mock it.
Yeah, they mock it, and it's really, really funny. It's very good.
It's a way to enjoy B movies.
Yes, it's a great way to enjoy B
Without
movies.
alcohol.
Yeah, it makes it. Well, I mean, whatever, throw it in there. Who cares?
No, I just mean if you were to watch a B
Oh,
movie.
yeah, you don't need the alcohol.
You don't need it.
Yeah,
It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas,
yeah.
like, there was a few times where we would drink and watch B movies just because and laugh
Oh,
at
yeah.
them.
Oh,
Basically, we were the guys in the theater.
Yeah, exactly.
The mystery science guys.
Yeah, so
They do it for you.
It's a great. You can watch it with your kids. I think for the most part, I think it was on television like in the 90s.
So it couldn't have been too crass.
Yeah, it could have been too crass. I would say if you got kids, maybe watch a couple of them first before you
Clear the episodes one at a time.
Yeah, but it's entire movies, so you have to be aware of that. But it's definitely good for just like the boys, you know?
It's a very meta kind of concept, isn't it?
Yes.
If I'm using the word meta correctly.
You are,
But
definitely
It's
using the word,
a very ahead of its time kind of concept.
For sure.
To be like, I'm watching guys watch a movie and make fun of it.
Yeah.
It's like way before reaction videos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's all it is. It's a full length movie reaction video.
Yeah, but it's high quality. It's done well.
With made up characters with scripts.
Right, yeah. It's done well, yeah. So that's my Mystery Science Theater 3000. I'm pretty sure you can find them on Amazon. They're really good. They're very funny. Watch them with your boys. If you don't want to watch them with your boys, you can watch them with your family probably. But just take that with a grain of salt. There's ladybugs all over my office. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It is that season.
Yep. Ladybug
If you're not
time.
in Texas or not in East Texas, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's this way in the rest of Texas, but in the fall, we get just a truckload, just flurries of ladybugs for like
Everywhere.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
There's ladybugs everywhere. They're like
crazy.
dying like flies in your windowsill.
Yeah. You
They
get
clog up the filters.
piles of them everywhere. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
they're like dying all the corners.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, I mean, I like ladybugs, so
So do I. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if we had any insect that swarmed, might as well be ladybugs.
yeah, they're nice and pretty and they smell good.
So
So
being a ladybug automatically makes me a girl.
yeah. That's pretty good. So we're talking about ladies today, dude.
Not just the bugs.
Not just the bugs, although some of them are bugs, and so you got to watch out for that.
Yeah, watch out for the bugs.
Watch out for the
Separate the
bugs.
ladies from the bugs.
I think there's one of the things I want to say before we jump into any of this is there's like an abundance, especially in the people that would listen to this and the other stuff they listen to and engage with on the internet. There's an overabundance of girl bashing that happens right now, like
Okay.
in the culture. So I don't want.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not interested in speaking negatively about girls, like in a broader way. Although we will say some things that are negative about women right now, but we'll also say things that are positive about them. But the female bashing has just worn me out. I'm just exhausted by it. 'Cause it's just,
At that you're fatigued with it.
yeah, it's just all
Over it.
constantly these dumb sluts like the there's
Well,
this week.
it's frustrating when I can't imagine what it's like to want something more and constantly be barraged with the Instagram girls
Yeah.
and whatever else they do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get it, but it's just, I think it's probably time to pull that back a little bit, you know?
Y'all have made your point.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah, exactly. There was this girl that this week, one of the big drama things on Twitter was that this girl who's, I think, I have no idea who she is or what she does, but I think she's some like, you know, influencer or something. I don't know. I don't know who she is. She had sex with 100 guys in a day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And she came out of it's a recording. There's a recording of her talking to this dude afterwards.
Uh-huh.
And she's like teary-eyed and is like, you know, it was just really intense. I just didn't expect it to feel this way. And I was like, and
Painful?
I don't know. Like
I can't imagine
you can
that you'd
tell
be-
she's trying not to admit the fact that she's had her entire like existence completely ravaged and turned over on its head. But she,
Just trying to make sense of that.
yeah, she still wants to
Within
be
the
like,
feminist context of like this should be liberating in some way.
yeah, exactly.
Look what we're able to do.
Yeah. So
You know what? That's something that no man has ever done.
what, had sex with 100 girls in a day?
Yeah.
I bet that's happened before.
You can't. No. I don't think you could physically do that.
Oh,
The
I guess that
turnaround
is true.
time. I say
guess
it's
that is
physically
true.
impossible
That
for a
is
man
true.
to actually physically do that. In
Yeah,
24
probably.
hours, that would be that's 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes,
Yeah,
a new one.
Yeah.
Impossible.
that is impossible.
Yeah, physically impossible.
Yeah.
I've done the research. From a physiological standpoint, I'm not being gross. I didn't try to have sex with 100 women in a day.
That's not what I thought you meant. I just thought you meant you tried to have sex with your wife a bunch in one day. That's what I thought you meant.
I will comically, like, my wife would laugh at this. I'll talk big after it's been a little bit, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
baby, I'm ready for twice tonight. And it's like,
No, you're not.
I was like, nope.
No, you're not. I hit twice recently.
Did you?
Yeah, I hit twice recently.
We will have to have fewer children in the house. Our windows of opportunity are so small,
Oh, I can't even imagine with 4 kids, bro.
especially with the size of our house.
Right. Yeah.
And we have a toddler in our room still,
Yes.
so it's
Yeah, that's
there's
true.
no opportunity for twice in one day.
Yeah.
It's just asking for frustration.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Damn, that's crazy. Well, that's why we're getting a nice big master bedroom put in our cabin, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's not why. I mean, it's part of the reason.
it's the only reason
Yeah,
why.
it's the only reason.
So tired of it, I have only once a day.
Yeah. yeah.
I'm gonna spend $60,000, so I don't have to.
Yeah. $60,000 so I could bust 2 nuts a day. It's probably worth it.
It depends on how many years you make use of that.
That's true.
You have
I'm
to
only
do
30,
a dollar
bro.
cost average.
I'm only
of
30.
How many?
Yeah, dollar cost average. Yeah. How much money per nut? Yeah.
Got to get the average down. Still at like 60 bucks a go at this rate.
Yeah, that's not bad.
They say that married men don't pay for sex. I'll tell you,
Yeah,
it's not true.
I'll tell you different. brother. Yeah.
I've heard that joke made before. That like really everyone pays for sex in one way or another. It's just
one way or another.
there's yeah. There's a proper way to. We'll say.
Oh dang it! I was thinking of it.
As in you go to work and you
Right,
provide for
yes,
your family.
Yeah.
Just to finish that thought.
Yes. Dang, what did... Oh, dang it, I'm not going to be able to remember it. Dang it, it was such a good joke I made the other day to Emily.
Pause it and think about it?
No, it's not worth it. There's just a huge, gigantic blank spot in my mind where the like beginning of the
little
joke
black
is.
hole.
There's no way it's coming back.
Okay.
But so yeah, guys, we're big fans of women over here on the Work Hard podcast.
They are wonderful, lovely creatures.
Yes, amazing. So anything, just keep that in mind. Anything we say that's negative, it's not about women
At large.
At large, yeah.
It's not about the female sex. It's about the individuals within it that you want to avoid marrying.
Yeah.
And actually, in a broader sense, just not associating with any more than you have to.
Yeah, that's true, man. It's not. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
You can. Okay.
I can't see the time.
Okay.
I can lean forward.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I would say.
Do we need to cue the main topic? Or too late?
Oh, I guess we could. Why don't we just put it in right here?
Ba-da-da-da.
Marked. I'll edit that in. I hope.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The main topic!
I guess we could tackle this with what to avoid first so that we don't end on a negative note.
All right,
Wrap it
so
up on a nice one.
I think it's pretty evident that we're a Christian podcast.
Yep. I think you figured that out.
And the biggest piece of advice, I should say this should seem obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say even I, who grew up in a Christian household and knew all of these things, I knew what it was to be unequally yoked. And I was very naive because of my desperation to find a wife.
Yeah.
It's my longest standing desire that I can remember in my life was to get married and have a family. So I'd always, since I was 6 or 7, been on the lookout for a wife and be like, I'll marry this one. What about this one? But constantly evaluating girls all the way through until I actually found the right one. And so that sort of, so my warning is the desperation. You do not want to fall prey to desperation. It is worth waiting.
Yeah.
You need to very carefully have your ideal woman picked out.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this in other episodes about, we're not talking about I want a Hispanic girl, or I really like black chicks, or I like ones who like this kind of music, or we need to share whatever.
Yeah.
Similar love of books.
Right.
So I'm not talking about I like girls who have long hair or black hair or curly hair.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sure, we all have some type that is maybe the most physically attractive to us. That should not be a deciding factor. It'll be a factor in whether or not you're attracted to her, so that'll automatically weed itself out. But I'm saying don't be so set on that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because when you find the right girl, you will, well, if you're not attracted to her, you just won't engage her at all.
Don't just assume she's the right girl because you think she's hot.
That's certainly the case. Yeah, because you find the one who looks exactly like what you imagined.
Right.
Don't force her into that.
Yeah, you got to
force yourself into that.
Yeah, dude, please. You got to dig a little deeper. And And here's the. So I've said this 1,000 times. So sorry if you've heard this before, but I wasn't saved till I was an adult. So I went through my formative years of like interacting with girls. I did not have anything close to a healthy sense of what I should be doing. And the early part of my manhood, like 16 on, I was a real girlfriend guy. And I had one-itis real bad. I'd get one-itis real bad. Like, this is the one. She's my girl. She's my love of my life. And that persisted till I was probably like 19.
The super
20.
ooey gooey.
Yeah.
I love you. You're my world. You're my everything.
Yeah, I'd get all wrapped up in these girls, and I would let them.
I made them so many mixtapes.
Dude. Ugh.
The kind of stuff that makes you gag when you're older.
Yeah. There was these two girls in particular that I dated early on in life, and they were both out of their minds. One of them was actually clinically diagnosed as insane. The other one was completely, right. The other one was so fractured that she might as well have been diagnosed with something. So I'm an expert on what not to do when trying to find a wife. And I know all about there's a song by a guy. He goes, I don't know what his actual name is, but his like pen name or whatever, the pseudonym he uses is Shooter.
Okay.
Negative XP. Sorry, that's Negative XP is his name.
Like experience points?
Yes. Yeah, Negative XP.
That's a great name.
Yeah, and he's got a song that's Scott Pilgrim ruined an entire generation of women. That's the title. Or like ruined a generation of girls, something like that.
Okay.
And it's if you go listen to that song, that is the girls that I dated for a long time. Yeah. Like just straight up.
Is the premise that the Scott Pilgrim movie, all the girls that what's the premise then?
The premise is
I've seen the movie.
That these girls saw Ramona Flowers and felt the lyric is literally she saw Ramona Flowers and felt so empowered.
Okay.
And so it's like this idea of this like flighty...
Ramona Flowers was gorgeous.
Maybe. Yeah,
her eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that actress.
That actress is
very beautiful. But they did.
I'm not talking about the personality of the character.
Right. The physical appearance.
Yeah.
I guess I was. It would be lying to say I wasn't into it, but I was. That wasn't my style.
I hated the moody band stuff in that movie.
Well, when I was a kid, when I saw that was like watching. I mean, it was like reading the Bible. It was like almost that profound.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it got me good. All those movies got me good, dude. All the teen angst movies got me so good, bro. I was a sucker.
Just him and his gay roommate being depressed and whatnot.
Yeah,
so gross.
Gay. Yeah. And, well, the like Perks of Being a Wallflower. Do you remember that?
I haven't
movie?
seen that.
Oh my goodness, bro! I used to, because Emma Watson was the like heartthrob in a lot of those movies.
Okay.
And I used to I used to sit in my room and watch those movies and look at Emma Watson and be in like physical
enamored
pain, dude.
Yeah.
Just like of desire.
Yeah.
That was my style. Was Emma Watson. The like elegance has always been my thing. So
sure, no, she's elegant.
Yeah. So
is what's her name from Hunger Games.
Really, you think that girl's elegant?
I think she can.
I guess she had. Yeah, that's true.
She has an elegance.
She can be. She in that movie, the movie where she plays a Russian spy.
I haven't seen that one.
It's like Red.
I've seen Passengers, where she's like the higher class.
Oh yeah, okay.
She gets woken up by the lower class guy who's just lonely and in love with her.
Damn.
She's very high class in that. You not seen that movie? Yeah, no, it's really bad.
Oh, damn.
Chris Pratt's character.
That's crazy.
Wakes her up on a cross, the universe voyage where she has no hope of surviving till the destination because he woke her up. Is bad.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Damn. Makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't remember much of the movie. It wasn't that good.
Excellent. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so that was the girl. Just listen to that song. And listen to it once because it's pretty graphic, but so don't listen to it again. But that was the girl that I used to date, so I know all about what not to do. And you have like, I think the thing that is important is exactly what Jason's saying, is that especially if you're a young guy, especially if you haven't had a lot of success with girls in the past, you're going to be really, really willing to make a lot of excuses.
Yes.
For
the first girl who says yes is going to steal your soul.
Yes.
Potentially.
Yeah.
It might be the right one, but it could very, very, very easily be a girl who intentionally or non-intentionally snares you.
Yeah.
Because she has got your attention.
Yeah.
And because you will be so emotionally invested in that relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. So it will, you are opening, and a bad girlfriend can like delay your development like a decade. So
yeah, that's why I wasn't married till my mid to late 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get,
not the only reason.
You can get leveled. You can get leveled pretty easily by a bad girlfriend. And so the one of the things that I think you can look out for, this was actually, it was a meme that I saw after I broke up with the second crazy girl. And it like clicked in my head when I saw this meme, such that I can vividly picture it in my head still. And to this day, I still remember it, which is that it was a picture of like a hipster girl who's all tatted up, and I mean she looked hot, but she was all tatted up and very colorful.
Yeah.
And the caption was just in nature, intense colors are an indication of poison.
Watch out for the blue hair.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just like clicked in my head, and I was like, oh
crap,
man. Yeah. And so then I proceeded to almost exclusively continue to date those girls all the way through college. But I never got, that's not worth saying. It was not good. Never good. But,
yeah, let's see. I had a serious relationship for 3 years, which thank God self-destructed when I went into paramedic school because it was time intensive on my part, and I wasn't able to give her all of the emotional support.
Yeah.
And she found someone else to give her the emotional support.
Good.
And thankfully that snapped me out of it.
Yeah.
Not for a good, it took a little while still. I still overlooked a lot of behavior that I should not have because I didn't have by that time I was too involved. So take this as a warning too. Once you've gotten to a certain point of involvement and everybody expects you to get married, it's very difficult, or it was for me. I didn't want to go through the embarrassment of
that's
going back on all of it.
Yeah. Especially if you're like engaged.
Yeah. And I did. I got engaged like right before I went into paramedic school, and then like 3 months later I got the ring back.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I just said keep it. I don't want it.
I don't. Yeah, get away from me. Yeah.
I said if you sell it, send me half of the money.
Did you ever get it?
No.
No, of course not.
I think she was torn about it enough that she didn't want to sell the ring.
Oh, okay.
So I think, for all I know, she still has it as
sweet
a remembrance of what she destroyed.
Yeah, the one time she had a chance of being elevated out of whatever
instead of being married to the 40-year-old that she went off with.
Oh, brother. Yeah,
that'll do a number on you too when your girlfriend goes and finds a middle-aged man who's more mature than you, but not mature enough to date someone his own age.
Yeah. So to make this practical, what can you look out for? I mean, there's obvious stuff, man. If she's got blue hair, if she's got a high, she's had 10 boyfriends before you met her or whatever.
If she dresses in a provocative modern way.
Yeah. If she's got her tits out, she's got her butt out.
As Chris Rock says, she's looking good. Her titties are popping out the top of her turtleneck.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which I thought was the funniest description, the absurdity of like.
That's pretty good, man.
I love that.
That's a pretty good one. I can hear it in the Chris Rock voice too in my head.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the obvious
I'm sorry.
ones.
I think that was Dave Chappelle. I'm sorry. It was not Chris Rock. I'm pretty sure that was Dave Chappelle.
Have you seen
He's looking good, you know. Well, he was pointing out the hypocrisy of a woman dressing like a prostitute,
Oh,
and then like getting on you about treating her like a prostitute.
yeah. Have you seen the Haters Ball? Have you seen that in the
No.
Chappelle show, where it's all these pimps and they're dressed up like pimps and they're at this ball, and they're coming in and they're just hating on each other, and they walk in, and I think it's Cedric the Entertainer is his counterparty. They're talking smack to each other, and Cedric the Entertainer says something, and Dave Chappelle is smoking on a cigarette, and he goes, "That's very funny, Clyde. Now, why don't you tap your heels and go back to Africa?" It's just so, tap your heels twice and go back to Africa. It's so good, man. It's so funny. So there are the obvious things, guys, and everybody knows this stuff because everybody beats it so desperate. What's your body count? Yes. Don't.
Red flags for sure.
Yeah, red flags. Don't marry a slut.
How about the less obvious
That's
red flags?
Less obvious red flags, dude. Now, here's the one that's a little controversial, okay? Now,
Okay.
We now know that there's mixed company listening to this. So, girls, sorry, this might upset you, but it's kind of the way it's got to be. If the girl won't shut up,
Explain.
if she just runs her mouth, and I don't mean she likes to tell you stories about her day,
Right. Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. They all do that.
They all do that.
There's something wrong if they're not talking to you about their day.
And you should sit there and listen to it as C.S. Lewis put in That Hideous Strength. Husbands are made to be talked to. So you ought to be paying attention to your girl in that way. But what I mean,
that is how. Yeah. That's emotion. That's loving your wife.
yeah.
Yeah, when the Bible talks about loving your wife, that's part of that is letting her talk through and that's how women process.
Yeah. Oh, this is one of the things I wanted to say that one of the reasons why I thought this was a great topic, because I saw a clip from The Simpsons a few days ago. And it was the episode where they split the school, so the girls go to one side and the guys go to the other. Okay. And it's such a great example of like the differences between boys and girls.
That's funny.
And he goes what's the daughter's name?
Lisa.
Lisa goes into the girls' classroom and it's like all pink and blue and whatever. And all the desks have been replaced with like cushy bean bags, like in the shape of hearts.
Yeah.
And so the teacher goes, "All right, girls, now that the boys are gone, we can finally breathe." And she's like, "All right, take a deep breath, take a breath out." She's like, "Okay, time for math." And Lisa's like, "Oh, I can't wait." And she goes, "All right, girls, so we'll start with this, the very most important thing here." And she draws a bunch of numbers and she goes, "Now, how do these numbers make you feel?" Which is fantastic, dude. So you got to understand.
Gotta love mainstream cartoon shows telling it like it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
There's an odd amount of wisdom in those shows.
Yes, there is.
And social observation.
Yeah.
The general wisdom from secular people is very funny.
It is
when they get it right.
Yeah, it is. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, she wants to tell you about all the time my wife hits me with like, "Do you remember this family from this like obscure time we met someone over whenever?" And I'm like, "Nope." She's like, "Well, they're pregnant." I'm like, "Great." Yeah, cool. So that's what I'm talking about.
Well, they're pregnant.
Yeah. What I'm talking about is I've watched so many dudes get locked in this spiritual like jihad that gets launched on men when girls get insecure. And that's a big part thing I want to touch on today is the insecurity of women that nobody talks about. That's the one thing that I never see any of these like manosphere dudes ever talk about what insecure women look like and how they act. and we are totally. There's the anima and the animus. That's the two
male and
halves.
female.
Yeah, the male and female psyche, and everybody has an anima and animus, and some people are possessed by either one. Society in general right now is possessed by its anima, which is the female side. So
Getting in touch with your female side.
right, when you
your
get people
feminine
that are
side.
insecure, they all act like women, and it's super annoying. But insecure women, they vie for power in a very terrorizing way, in an incessant, nonstop way, and it's like little stuff like. I can't think of another example, and so I'm going to have to use this. And Emily, my wife, I'm sorry, but first of all, for the record, my wife is not. My wife is very good. She's a very good wife, very good wife, and she does not. She's not incessant in any way and does not bother me. But she made a small mistake the other day, and if I could think of any other example, I'd use it, but I can't. So this is the one I'm going to have to go with. We bought chickens from you, and we were getting out of church and going into the house, and I was exhausted and whatever, and I was thinking about the chickens and what I was going to do with them and where I was going to put them and all that stuff. And we get out of the car and we're walking in, and she goes, "Are you going to get the chickens?" And I turned around and I went, "No, I was going to leave them in there." Like, what are you talking? Of course I'm going to get the chickens. And so it's a small example, and might be a bad one, but what I'm talking about is like when girls get scared, they nag.
I was going to say that's kind of the word that the hen pecking.
Yeah, hen pecking. They nag, and so
When they worry that you're not taking care of stuff.
right, and so they want to get on top of things, and the problem with that, the issue there is that it accomplishes nothing. Okay. It accomplishes
Except to frustrate you.
Yeah, exactly. It accomplishes nothing,
And then
but
you'll make a bad decision,
Right.
oftentimes because you're rushed into it.
right.
And I'll say really quick the flip side of that and how you. I'm sorry. I'll wait to finish your thought.
It's okay. Just the that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know necessarily. I think this thought's kind of, it doesn't have a bow on it, but I think
Okay.
it's pretty much done.
The flip side of that is that you can be a bad leader by not ever making decisions, and you drive your wife to that.
Right.
So I think if you have a good wife, she can be tempted to do that if you are inactive.
Yeah.
If you are lazy and not, if you find your wife constantly reminding you about the same things, you need to be taking care of those things.
Right.
Because a lot of them, it's like, "Hey, honey, we need to make a decision about this."
Yeah. That.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we will. You know, like, get off my back. I'm tired right now.
Right.
And you keep putting it off.
Right.
You're the problem as much as she is.
Yeah.
And she shouldn't be henpecking you about it, but don't force her into a position where
everything.
she's trying to avoid a catastrophe.
Everything we're saying here, I think, could be have the caveat of, if you've picked a good woman and you are married, then at that point it's all your responsibility anyways. Mm-hmm. So like if you're getting henpecked or whatever, like if your household is in disarray in any way, it's your fault. So
Yeah.
you got to start with you. Like that's how all that works. So, yeah, so that's one, is like this, like incessant fear in women will destroy your life, bro. You will have no peace. You'll have no peace. And that is extremely exhausting. You'll lose your job. You'll not get promoted. You'll
have a miserable home life.
have a miserable home life. Your
You'll
kids,
avoid coming home possibly as
Right.
much as possible for as long as possible.
You'll start drinking too much, and neglecting your kids. Your daughters will see that and go, "This is how it works," and so they'll become that way.
Right.
Your sons will see that and go, "This is how it works," so they'll allow their women to be that way to them.
Or they'll do the opposite and rebel against it and become hateful of women.
Yeah, true.
Which is which is the other problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you really need to evaluate that when you're talking to a girl, you're taking her on dates or whatever. And I think one of the ways you can measure that is just like, like to what level has feminism poisoned this young girl's mind? Mm-hmm. Will she let you open doors for her? Will she let you, does she be like, "Oh no, I want to pay too"? Like, what does she feel like she wants to have pants on? Because if she feels like she wants to have pants on, she's terrified of the world. And her reaction to that is not to submit to the authority of God and of her father and of the people that God had put in her life. Her reaction to that is to desperately cling to whatever
To
scraps.
seize control.
Yeah, to hallucinate and think she can get control of the situation.
Well, and really biblically, that is the curse of women.
Yeah.
Your desire will be for your husband and he will rule over you.
Yeah.
Meaning, my understanding of it, the explanation I've heard is that doesn't mean you'll desire your husband in a good way. It means you'll desire to usurp his
Right.
authority.
You desire his power.
And he's still going to rule over you in some way.
Yeah.
And it might be tyrannical.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously that would be a sin on the man's part to rule tyrannically. But the women, look at her relationship with her dad. Look at their family.
Yeah.
Is she from a divorced family? What does her father do? How is her relationship with her dad? These are stereotypes, maybe. Not really. It sounds cliche, but it really is true. If she was raised in the kind of environment where her mother's running things and her dad's really passive, guess what? She's most likely, unless there's a stark difference between her mother and her, you need to clock that and be very aware and settle that before you put a ring on her.
Yeah.
Or you need to end it.
Yeah.
So get to know her family. This is not saying that you should write off any girl who has a bad relationship with her dad, but that's going to be this is similar to our discussion about marrying across cultures.
Right.
It's not a no. It's not a hard no, but you've got a lot harder road to go
Right. You
to
got to
get
do
to a
some
stable marriage and a smoothly working household than someone who comes from a family with a proper mother-father relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. You just got to do some extra due diligence if that's the case.
And be straight up and communicative. So your job as leader starts then. You don't have authority over her necessarily. Her father still does. If she's living in the house, her father still is her protector.
Yeah.
She still belongs to him, not you.
Yeah.
So don't start being her husband too soon. But in little ways, she should be deferring to you. And in little ways, you should be leading her and taking command of the situation in a gentle and caring way.
Yeah. Yes.
And making the decisions. I think one little way that this plays out is if you're always letting her decide where you're going out.
Yep.
Because if you're constantly turning over things to her for decision making, even if you paint it as, well, I don't want to go somewhere she wouldn't want to go.
Right.
It's like, well, your job is to know her well.
Yeah.
So as you get to know her, you should know what kinds of food she does and doesn't like and should just pick accordingly.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with necessarily asking her opinion. Hey, you feel like Italian or barbecue tonight? And she's like, I don't care. Then you pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if she's like, I've really been craving barbecue. Cool, we'll go to barbecue. I don't think that's abdicating authority. It's considering her opinion. But my wife almost never has an opinion on like going out to eat.
Yeah.
And or what movie to watch. And I don't ever want to pick something she doesn't want to watch. But at the same time, I've gotten better, more comfortable just saying, we're going to watch this.
Right. Yeah.
And she's like, cool, I'd like to watch whatever with you.
Yeah. 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 I often at dinner, most of the time when my wife and I go out, I go, what version of a quesadilla would you like to have tonight? Because that's what you're going to order no matter where we go. So
I'd like a Chinese quesadilla.
yeah, it's just bread and cheese. That's what she's going to get. So,
Oh, I see. Bread and cheese. That's funny. Knows what she likes.
That is what she likes. Yeah. Yeah. So you got to be careful with that. And the last thing we'll say about avoiding, I mean, there's a myriad, whatever. We only have an hour, so we're not going to be able to cover everything. I think that's the most important thing in the like modern era with girls today is to avoid girls who can't control themselves around being quiet. Because most of the time that's the correct answer for women when they're in a bad situation with their spouse or whatever. Most of the time the answer is to be quiet. and
To allow you a chance to lead, for one thing.
right.
You need the practice in leading, and you need the practice in making a mistake, especially like financial and career mistakes.
Yeah, and it also it will speak. The silence will be louder to the husband than the chatter,
That's true.
because you'll be like, my dear sweet wife, she just is putting up with me so much. Like a girl will create a like gratitude and thankfulness for her with her husband by being silent. And so most of the time, whatever she is trying to get, she will get by being quiet, not by talking.
And you'll know you'd made the right decision when she holds you.
Yeah. So that's important. The final thing that I'll touch on here is, before we move on to the positives, and we'll have to go to that quick.
A secure woman is an affectionate woman.
Yeah, secure woman is an affectionate woman, and they're not trying to compete with you and be like, well, I'm strong too, and I can also do this.
Well, I'm saying there is that curse, so the inclination is to do that. But you're saying a good girl, a godly woman, will be fighting that actively, just like you are fighting the inclination to do whatever men struggle with.
You neglect things,
be lazy,
be Peter Pan. That's the
true. Stay in your childhood,
right? Yeah. So the other thing that I would say is, you gotta. I think this is full stop, break up, walk away, over. Like it's as bad as anything, which is that if you hit one of these things we've talked about here, and all of a sudden you have concern, and you bring that up to her, and her answer is to try to throw that thing on you.
Example?
She's trying to put it on you. She's trying to bed you.
That's what you mean.
She's trying to keep you around with sex.
Gotcha.
Or not even necessarily sex, with sexual favors. If you start, and here's the practical thing, because that is Jezebel, that's her weapon, dude. That's the thing that she has. And so that's her immediate, she'll deploy female tears, and if female tears don't work, then the next deployment is sex. And what that'll look like is you'll bring something up, and you'll be like, babe, I don't know about this, whatever, you said this the other day, and that makes me whatever. Let's talk about this. I've got concerns. Maybe you're not calling her babe at this point, but like, you're like, Jane, I really like you, whatever. You say something to her that's less than positive feedback about the relationship. Then in the next coming weeks, all of a sudden,
she's going to turn it on.
You're alone more often than you used to be. You're invited into her apartment or something like this. Like,
there's opportunity presented.
Yeah, all of a sudden there's just these weird opportunities presented. And she's batting her eyelashes at you a little bit more. Maybe the shirt she's wearing gets a little lower cut.
The hugs are longer.
Yeah, hugs you longer, whatever. Like
runs her hand down your arm or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like she's coming for you, bro. And at that point you have to understand that she's
signaling that she will let you do whatever.
Yeah. And so she's trying to bribe you with the lusts of your sweet, sweet, young, innocent male heart. To bring you into her bedchamber. And
how long it's been since I had one of those?
Who knows, man? She's trying to. She's lets any man on the street corner come into her bedchamber, whatever the Bible verse is. I don't remember, but
Proverbs. Not the Proverbs 31 woman. It's the opposite of that. The harlot.
Yeah.
The opposite of wisdom, basically the enemy of wisdom.
Right. Yeah. And so if she's hitting you with she's trying to get you in the sweet walls, bro, it's time to back up. It's time to back up bigly. It's time to probably break up with her. I'm saying it's probably a good idea to break up with her. And that's got to be a clean break, dude. That's got to be blocked on Instagram, phone number blocked.
You do not talk to her at all.
Yeah. Do not talk to her at all, because that's going to get ratcheted up. Especially if that girl's unstable like that, she's going to ratchet up the craziness when you break up with her, because now she's got nothing to lose. So
you've just given her life after murder.
Yeah, exactly.
She's gonna be killing prison guards.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta You got to guard yourself against that, and you have to catch that early, brother. You got to catch that early.
Yeah, if she gets her claws into you, it's going to be so much harder.
Dude.
If your relationship starts off physical, you were in a bad way.
Bro, if the moment over the pants touches your penis, game over. It's done. You are not getting out of that situation. You have to catch that early, dude. Nip it in the bud quick. You have to be ruthless with that, bro.
You got to be ready for that in advance, because you will not, if you have not prepared for that mentally, if you don't have a protocol for that.
Oh my goodness, dude. No
you're
way.
Toast.
You're toast.
If you're anything
toast.
like we were, you're toast.
Dude, yeah. You got to catch that immediately. Immediately. Detect, eliminate, evade.
Pull a Joseph, leave your coat and run.
Yeah, dude, just get
out of
there.
the house.
Get out of there. Yeah.
Best step.
You're in protocol Z.
Don't go in the apartment at all.
Yeah,
protocol Z.
Yes,
do anything.
Yes, do anything. Fart.
Except
throw
her.
up. Panic. Whatever.
Oh my goodness, is that the Goodyear blimp?
Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, exactly, dude. Blow a tire, whatever you have to do. Get out immediately.
Run the car into a ditch.
Yeah, get in a car accident. Yeah. It is
Babe, I'm trying to drive.
Yeah, protocol Z. Yes, yeah, it is do anything. So watch out for that.
If you're in public, you can yell, rape!
Yeah, that'll go well. That'll probably somehow end up with you getting arrested.
Which would be better than you getting in her
true.
bed.
It would
actually.
be. It
you
would
would be safe
better.
there
It
from
would
her.
be better. Yeah,
not
from
safe sexually, probably, but you'll at least be safe from her.
County jails are all right. They're not that.
Yeah, no, it's not prison.
Yeah, so watch out for that. Now, quickly, we can cover. What are you looking for in a young woman?
First of all, find one who is as similar as possible to you in your Christian walk.
Yeah,
Christian belief.
Yeah.
Do not date someone or consider someone seriously who is a new Christian and you are a longer standing Christian.
Yep.
Someone who is recently converted they're still in the stage in the parable of the sowers. When they cast the seed, there's lots of seed that comes up, but it's in different ground. You don't know yet what kind of ground she is. If she's the stony ground where it pops up and she's really enthusiastic, and she might seem like just this on fire for Jesus girl.
Yeah.
Right? And which would be highly attractive. And you're like, finally, someone who just is on fire for Jesus.
Right.
But if it happened within the last year,
That
in all likelihood, that will fade, that will die down.
Yeah.
I'm not guaranteed, but you need to not make any firm plans until that's really solidified.
Yeah.
Sit back and watch.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, if you're a new Christian, do not go around looking for aged Christian women who are...
Well, you shouldn't be looking... I think if you're a new regenerate Christian, you need to spend some time getting your household in order.
That's a very good point.
So you shouldn't be looking at all.
That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Because you don't want to be... as an immature Christian, you don't want to be leading another immature Christian.
Right. That's a very good point.
The blind leading the blind.
Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, so scratch what I just said.
So take a year or so.
Yeah.
Get deep into the Word.
Yeah.
Put your roots down deep in a church.
Yeah.
And then start looking around.
Yeah.
Be patient. Remember that this marriage is for life.
Yeah.
And that 1 year out of your life is not going to kill you, even if it feels like it in the moment, because I know that it feels like it.
Oh, bro,
I totally get that.
Totally
it feels like
Jason
a month
and I have
is like
both
a year.
been there, dude. We've both.
I get it, and I know
there.
the abject loneliness and the desperation.
Yeah.
My lovely, perfect for me wife only showed up once I gave up looking for her.
Yeah.
I think I've said this before, but I was looking for love in all the wrong places, and I would just because like a girl was nice, then I'd be like, somehow in my mind, I was like, maybe she's a Christian because she said these couple of things that were like vaguely spiritual. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, you weren't.
I wasn't. No,
Yeah.
all I was thinking was like, maybe she'll be my wife.
Right.
Extremely naive and extremely immature. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Get your feet under you. You cannot lead until you actually know where you're leading.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so you want yeah, you do not want to be unequally yoked. I would say, take that further. Think about what's her family background. What's your family background? Do you guys have similar family backgrounds? Are you from similar socioeconomic status? Like, these are things that are going to help smooth, like, get your cultures as close together as possible, because this will help smooth things over.
Yeah, if you are a tradesman and she's from a family line who values higher education and you have no interest in going to school, but her family's going to have a hard time accepting you.
Yeah.
Or her father's not going to say yes unless you go and get at least a bachelor's degree.
Right.
And you're convinced that that's not the route to go.
Right.
Then maybe that's not the girl for you.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a Romeo and Juliet story.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. Although, maybe it will be. Whatever. Who knows? But
yeah, I'm not saying, again, this is like the cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's not a hard no, but it's something you need to consider strongly.
Yeah. Yeah. So look out for that. You want to look out for, I would say a gentle, I would say gentle girl. Maybe some guys aren't about that, but I would say gentle girl. But the one thing that I do,
as opposed to like a sassy girl.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, there's just, I don't know, just type A, tight ponytail, sort of like, I've got a clipboard. I'm going to get it done. Like, those girls are not necessarily,
gotcha.
And don't,
be more inclined. It seems like personality wise, they'd be more inclined to try and run things.
Yeah. So yeah, you want to look for a gentle girl. You want to look for a girl who is, who's ladylike. But the thing I think that's important, the thing that's like on my heart to say, is that dudes get a lot of flack for, having desire and ambition, which I think is retarded. I think that's like a very key part of the engine that makes a man go.
Yeah. To take risks, to conquer.
Yeah.
To advance and to provide well for your family.
Yeah. And so I would make the argument that if this girl is not like what you want physically, I would say that probably negates her as much as being unequally yoked. If she's not a Christian, that's obviously way bigger of a deal. But I would say if she is a Christian and she's not what you want physically, then you ought not pursue her, unless God really puts it on your heart or whatever. But here's what I'll say. Maybe I'll clear this up. I have a very specific type that I have had since I was young, and I do not deviate. Well, I didn't deviate. Now I can't, but I did not deviate from that type.
Now you really don't deviate.
Yeah, now I really don't deviate. I liked tall, elegant, thin blondes with big blue eyes and well endowed. That was my type. And I wasn't even necessarily blonde. I was kind of back and forth on blonde. I can take a lead blonde, but there's
the other characteristics.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to show anybody who doesn't know her, like any of the listeners who don't know us personally. I won't put a picture of my wife out for people to see, but because that would dox me, obviously. But if you want, you can look up. I think it's like, I'm not going to remember her name, but there's this girl on Instagram that looks a lot like my wife.
Yeah.
That is like exactly my type that it's like Instagram feeds me now all the time. And I keep hitting her picture and it's like, I'm not interested. And it like, quit showing me this. And it keeps showing it to me. Yeah.
Thanks, Instagram.
Yeah. Thanks. But she's not inappropriate. I think she's like an antiques dealer or something. And like, that's all of her posts are about that. But, yeah, so I have a specific type. And I really think it's very important that you accept that you have a specific type. I think it's okay. It is okay, dude. I'm going to say this in the most vulgar way, dude, because why not, man? I'm not Sorry, I'm not apologizing. This is just the way that it is. It is okay to see a young woman, think she's perfectly lovely, and she'd make a great wife one day. She's great with kids, all this stuff. She seems totally stable, got a great family. And you look at her and you see her and she goes, she doesn't have big enough boobs. That is okay, bro. That is okay. It's okay to say that. It's okay to make that decision. That's fine.
Just not after you've married her.
Yeah, it's just not after you've married her. Yeah. Unless your strat in life is to make a lot of money, because you can just size those things up, no problem. No big deal.
I'd say it's a big deal. I have a beef about body modification.
Oh, really?
Extent. Yeah.
Damn. All right. Well, maybe Jason's half isn't allowed to do that, but my half is allowed to do that. So yeah, that's one thing I really want to give you guys permission to evaluate women physically. Okay. It is okay. All right. You're allowed to do it.
You do need to be attracted to your wife.
Yes.
Before you marry her.
Yes. Yeah. And you also, this is going to sound heartless, but I'm sorry. Look at her aunts. Look at her mom. How is she going to look while bearing a child, after bearing children? Because you're going to be with her for a lot longer at post-child than you are going to be with her pre-child. So she might look great now, but you need to think in your head, what is this skeletal structure going to look like with 20 extra pounds on it? Because that's, at some point in your marriage, that's what's going to be on her. It might come off, maybe it won't, who knows? But you need to evaluate, am I going to like the way this woman looks with 20 extra pounds, 10 extra pounds, 5 extra pounds, however much? Because if I don't, sex is going to get a lot more difficult, and the marriage is going to get sandbagged a little bit. So
I think, though, I'll push back on that.
Okay.
I think as you bear children together, as she bears your children, your affection for her and the level of attraction will go up.
Yeah.
Despite her looks going down.
Okay.
I think your connection to her should connect you through that.
Okay.
I mean, after all, you're taking wedding vows that say for better or for worse, for, in sickness and in health.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. If she gains 10 pounds, if your wife gets fat, you should stop having sex with her. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
okay.
It's gonna switch. It is going to diminish, just on a practical level. It is going to diminish your desire for your woman if she looks not as good as she did look, but you're saying that is going to be compensated for in other areas.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I completely get what you're saying, and I agree to a point. But at the same time, your relationship is so much. I would say physical attraction is what gets you into the relationship, and then emotional and spiritual connection to her will carry you through whatever she looks like later.
Yeah.
And also the fact that, like, I think we've mentioned this. I re-listened to part of Bedroom Adventures.
Oh yeah.
The other day, and when she gets old and flabby, and you get old and flabby, like neither one of you are going to be. The odds of you looking good into your 50s and 60s are slim.
Right.
And my dad has wisely said, he goes, sex is only going to get better the longer you're together, because you will know each other and each other's bodies so much better. You'll know how to please each other. So, like, sex should get better, like, the less hot you get. Because you're just so much better at it with that person. You know them so well.
Yeah.
And it's like, so they wouldn't be able to be on Sports Illustrated anymore,
Right.
But you have, over the years, you have like hundreds or thousands of sexual memories and connections to her that have bound you.
Yeah.
Psychologically and emotionally to her.
Okay.
So I would not say that should be a rule out.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. yeah, I
but
wouldn't.
yes, you should at the very least be prepared for it.
Yeah,
Like what Ethan is saying about what you said, Ethan, about looking at her mother and her aunts and whatnot and going, okay, so after children, this is a good likelihood of what she'll look like.
right.
But yeah, I gotta take it into consideration, but be mindful that she's not going to look like 21 forever.
Yeah,
And so you just need to be aware of that
yeah,
and not have, you shouldn't have your whole relationship and attractiveness to her based on her physical appearance.
no,
I
of course
don't
not. Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying,
Okay.
but yeah.
I'm adding nuance, trying to add nuance.
Yeah, to anybody who thought that that's what I was saying, re-listen to what I actually said, and then engage with what I actually said.
Unlike Jason just did.
No, it's all right. That's okay. But that is one of those things that you have to watch out for in general. It's like when you're whatever. It's not important. We're gonna add extra time to the podcast episode for no reason. So yeah, guys. There you go. I feel like this is a deeper topic, so maybe we'll have to dig into this again with other red flags and green flags. But
Yeah. There's lots to talk about and unpack with this topic.
yeah,
It's an important one. It's
is an
foundational
important
to your entire life, so we should spend extra time on it.
yeah. What can you take from this? I would say, to sum the whole thing up, dude, don't be desperate. If you're desperate, you're going to overlook a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not even desperate. Jason speaks to it from an angle of being, desperate for a wife. I'll speak to it an angle of being desperate for sex. Like if that's a very strong desperation too. So don't rush into getting married. I would say don't overlook things because you want to have sex. I think it's fine to rush into marriage because you want to have sex, but don't make sure you're still being thoughtful and you're evaluating her actual value as a spouse before you do that. So don't let desperation usurp your mind, and be very diligent with evaluating how poisoned by feminism this girl is.
Yeah.
Because it really can really manifest in a lot of different ways. You'll see very, very conservative women. My mom yesterday, we were texting about Christmas plans. We're going to go to Dallas for Christmas. And she said, "Is that fine?" And I said, "Yes, that's fine." And she said, "What does Emily say?" And I said,
That it's fine.
"That it's fine." And she said, "Okay, Emily's good with it." And I said, "Yes, Emily's good with it because I decided." And then my mom, who's a devout Christian and extreme conservative, messaged me the puking face emoji. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to pull that stuff out root and stem. And it is such a pervasive thing today that even the most like conservative Christian girls will still be like, no, I'm gonna wear this.
Yeah.
And so that, like, you really got to be ruthless with evaluating.
So I guess we're not going out then.
Right, yeah, or you're going out by yourself. Like that is the guys, let you know a little secret right before we go here. That's your weapon against women is tapping out. They can't deal with it. So if the situation's not going your way, one of the I don't recommend you do this lightly, but you can just go, I'm going to go to the bar. And it nullifies everything. So
I'm going to go to the fights.
I'm going to go to the fight. You can go, all right, listen, bitch. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't say that. Don't ever say that.
She'll get the message.
Yeah. You'll probably get hit. I would imagine you'll get hit with something if you say that.
Rightly so.
Yeah, rightly so. Yeah, rightly so. So So yeah, don't say that to your wife. Don't say that to your girl. But yeah. So just evaluate feminism very ruthlessly. You got to look out for it in its most subtle ways. If you do not, it will rear its head. It will be bad.
Straight up ask her about it.
Yeah, straight up ask her
You
about
consider yourself a feminist?
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean by feminism?
Well, she may not consider herself a feminist. She might say to you and believe in her heart, no,
Okay.
feminism is stupid. And then when it comes, when the rubber meets the road, and you say something like, "You're married. You're 10 years into marriage. You have an opportunity to make an investment," and you look at her and you go, "Hey, I'm doing this." Not, "Hey, are we going to do this together?" or something like that.
Right.
And she loses her mind about it, and all of a sudden now you missed out on a chance to retire early or something. Like, that's a problem. So just look out for that stuff. That I think that's really the big, is that you have to be able to evaluate the subtleties of the brain rot that feminism causes in men and women.
Yeah. Male feminism.
Yeah. Crazy. Anyways, sorry, I just want to hold.
Don't abdicate.
Yeah. So that, and then what's our positive side? We'll sum this up. It's okay to make decisions based off physical appearance, as long as they're not usurping, the things that matter more than that. Don't feel bad because you don't like some girl who you think is perfectly fine because she doesn't have the right size butt or whatever. Like, that's fine. It's normal. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got, Jason. What do you got?
The positives? I think I've said all my stuff.
Okay, cool. We've summed it up. You now have your TLDR at the end of the episode. Gentlemen, please do not engage in female bashing. Stuff is whack, cringe. You look like an incel. It is just it's just gay, dude. It is the spirit of homosexuality embodying in your life. So just get it out. Don't do it. Find a girl, marry her,
and have some babies.
Have some babies with her. Go to church, guys. We love you. We're praying for you. We will see you next week. Bye bye.